Tonight, the new fallout over that security breach. U.S. war plans reportedly discussed over a messaging app. President Trump standing behind his team and downplaying the lapse as lawmakers from both sides of the aisle demand answers. Russia and Ukraine agree to a limited ceasefire in the Black Sea. And the incredible rescue following a plane crash on an icy lake. First, President Trump defending his embattled national security advisor, the man who reportedly added a journalist to a Signal app group chat with the White House inner circle, saying Mike Waltz is a good man and he will continue to do a good job. President Trump downplaying the issue, saying he doesn't believe they shared classified information. And on Capitol Hill, the fireworks. Democrats and some Republicans livid, demanding answers from national security officials. Martha Raddatz with late reporting. Russia and Ukraine agree to limit their attacks on each other, including a truce in the Black Sea after separate meetings with White House officials. But will it hold? Firefighters race to contain wildfires in the Carolinas. Dry conditions helping to spread the flames as record heat grips the West. Ahead of a new cross-country storm, Ginger Z timing it all out. The new twist in the tragic death of former New York Yankees star Brett Gardner's son while the family was on vacation. What we're learning tonight. Chilling new video of the deadly mass shooting at a New Mexico car show. Urgent new warnings for millions to delete their DNA data from the genetic testing company 23andMe after it filed for bankruptcy. Charges tonight in the terrifying smash and grab robbery of a jewelry store outside New York City. The stolen goods worth nearly $2 million. And America Strong tonight, the incredible rescue on the ice in Alaska and the community that came together to find a missing family.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Tuesday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. We begin tonight with the explosive breach in national security unfolding in the nation's capital. Late today, President Trump downplaying that remarkable lapse and defending his top intelligence officials who reportedly discussed highly sensitive U.S. war plans in Yemen using an unauthorized messaging app and inviting a journalist to join their group chat by mistake. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe testifying before a heated Senate panel today. Democrats calling it incompetence, unprofessional, and, quote, an utter screw-up, insisting American lives were put at risk. The Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, says he was added to that chat before the attack on Houthi rebels, which included Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and other top officials. President Trump claiming no classified information was shared and attacking the journalists his team included in the group chat. Democrats calling for an investigation, saying if the chat was not classified, it should be made public. ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leads us off in Washington.
Tonight, President Trump trying to downplay an extraordinary lapse in national security. Members of his inner circle, including Vice President J.D. Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, reportedly discussing highly sensitive U.S. war plans on a commercial messaging app. All while a journalist says he was reading the messages in real time.
There was no classified information, as I understand it. They used a app, if you want to call it an app, that a lot of people use.
Trump defending his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who Jeffrey Goldberg, editor of The Atlantic, said apparently inadvertently added him to the group on the Signal app.
He's a very good man, and he will continue to do a good job.
Goldberg says Hegseth shared operational details of the U.S. strikes on the Iran-backed Houthis earlier this month, including precise information about weapons packages, targets, and timing. Trump today asked if Waltz made a mistake.
No, I don't think he should apologize. I think he's doing his best. It's equipment and technology that's not perfect, and probably he won't be using it again, at least not in the very near future. What do you think?
Yes, sir. I agree with you. Let's get everybody in the room whenever possible.
Tonight, Waltz spoke out on Fox News.
I take full responsibility. I built the group. My job is to make sure everything's coordinated.
Hegseth overnight denied sharing sensitive information about the attack.
Nobody was texting war plans. And that's all I have to say about that.
But Goldberg saying that's simply not true.
No, that's a lie. He was texting war plans.
The hearing will come to order.
On Capitol Hill today, senators grilling two top cabinet officials who Goldberg says were part of that chat group, CIA Director John Ratcliffe and Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard.
I think this is one more example of the kind of sloppy, careless, incompetent behavior.
Georgia Senator John Ossoff suggesting the lapse could have put American troops at risk.
They're talking about the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
So the attack sequencing and timing and weapons and targets you don't consider should have been classified?
I defer to the Secretary of Defense, the National Security Council on that question.
Despite the administration's insisting war plans were not shared, some Republicans today not convinced.
Yeah, that's
criticizing the reporter.
That's baloney. I don't think they ought to just be honest and own up to it.
President Trump says an FBI investigation is not necessary, but as much as President Trump and his national security team want to put this behind them, many on the Hill are not buying it and are pressing for accountability. Whit?
Martha Raddatz for us tonight. Thank you. Moving on now to the new developments in the U.S. effort to end the war in Ukraine. Talks underway in Saudi Arabia. Both Ukraine and Russia agreeing to limit their attacks, including a truce in the Black Sea. Let's get right to ABC's senior national correspondent, Terry Moran. And Terry, still a lot of details need to be worked out here.
That's right, Whit. This is a limited ceasefire, and there are significant doubts already about whether or not it can take hold. But this is the first real step towards peace in the brutal 3-year-long war. And under the deal, Ukraine and Russia have agreed to halt attacks in the Black Sea, where Russia's navy has been battered and Ukraine's ports have been hammered. In addition, the two countries will finalize, they say, a deal to halt attacks on each other's energy infrastructure as well. Russia says this deal, however, will go into effect only when sanctions on its agricultural exports are lifted. The U.S. says they will try to help with that, but that deal would likely require the agreement of the European Union, and that's going to be hard to achieve right now. So still a lot of uncertainty, but a good step.
Something to watch closely, Terry. Thank you. Back here at home, the wildfire emergency in the Carolinas. Mandatory evacuations ordered in parts of North Carolina. At least 3 large fires burning near Asheville. And South Carolina declaring a state of emergency because of the Blue Ridge fire. Here's ABC's chief meteorologist, Ginger Z.
Tonight, families in Polk County, North Carolina are on edge as multiple large wildfires continue to burn out of control.
Is everyone helping everyone else?
Esther Albert hosing down her rental property just a few hundred yards from firefighters trying to tamp down the smoldering fires.
The hope is that we, eliminate as much of the fuel for the fire as possible, and that hopefully it doesn't take the buildings.
Helping to fuel the fires, millions of dead trees knocked down by Hurricane Helene last year. In South Carolina, a state of emergency is still in place as the Table Rock Complex fire burns through Pickens and Greenville counties. The area got a little much-needed rain Monday, but that also kept firefighting aircraft grounded. Asheville is still 4 inches below average year-to-date for rainfall.
And Ginger here joining us with that forecast. And Ginger, you're also tracking those wildfires and the record heat in the West.
Yes, so we've still got red flag warnings for parts of Georgia, South Carolina, and western North Carolina tonight. The relative humidity has been below 20%. That's part of the problem. But the winds have been kicking 30, 35 miles per hour. Now, that's going to happen again tomorrow afternoon. After the sun comes up, the winds start back up. And then by Thursday, when we are there in Asheville for Asheville Rising, a big event on GMA, the winds will subside a bit, but it is going to be really cold that morning. Very different from what's happening out west. Today, Dallas had their first 90 of the season about a month early. And you'll see in the Pacific Northwest, records fall again tomorrow. From Seattle right through Idaho, parts of Wyoming too, and Salt Lake City could do it. Then we'll break that up with the next low pressure system. Severe storms possible in the Pacific Northwest and severe storms possible from Little Rock to Indianapolis and other places this weekend. Whit.
And we know you'll be tracking it on GMA. Ginger, thank you. Now to a new medical report raising more questions about the unexpected death of former Yankees star Brett